All right, so we're gonna go over cutting the top. And again, you'll wanna have cleaned up your piece. This one has not been cleaned up at all. It has all these pieces of clay. It could be scraped more and just rounded off. But in case I'm not here next class, I wanna make sure I show you how to cut the top. And I think I've used one of these in the past. You don't really have to. But for this one, the tools you'll need will be a ruler and a needle. Let me clean this off. And one of these flexible rulers specifically. And you want to look and see about where you'd want the top to be. And for this one, I'd say, just according to this ruler, maybe at the 8 centimeter mark. But make the decision for yourself. You can be like 8.5 or whatever. But then just be consistent. Yeah, can you put the phone away? Thank you. And so let's say I decided on 8. Decide on wherever you want. It could be like 7.5, 8.5, anywhere in there. But now I'm just gonna make a mark. I'm gonna move my ruler, make another mark at 8. Make another mark at 8. Sorry, this part's gonna be tedious. So I'll rush through it as fast as I can, but I wanna make a dotted line all the way around my heart. Face you a little bit, but it's all just being consistent and making a little mark all the way around at about the 8. In this case, it's gonna be 8 centimeters. So I think that's where it'll look like top should be. All right, let me talk about the, cutting the top. I also want to do this because I also want to demonstrate cutting the bevel. Here's an example of one that was made maybe last year. And all they did was cut it straight through. And so it does cut the top, but the top slides off easily. And I'm gonna show you in a minute. I'm gonna establish a line all the way across. Then I'm gonna establish a groove, cut a groove. And then once I have a groove in there, then I'm gonna angle the needle so that it makes an angled cut, and then the top stays in place a little bit better. So that's my goal for this. And so I need the flexible part of the ruler so I can join up those 8-inch marks. They might not all be exactly together, but do a best fit line. And then run the needle along the ruler. Some more, connect the other ones. Then do the other side. So make sure you look at this video in case I'm not here in class. And then come around again. Bend that in there and use the ruler to make your marks. In the past, I think I've used these. These are banding wheels. These are located on the shelf over there. And if your clay is kind of sticky, you might want to put some newspaper down just so it doesn't stick to the banding wheel. Then you can just kind of move it around a little bit better. You can still continue to use the ruler if you want, but for the sake of time, I'm just going to run the needle. So I've established my line, but I haven't established the groove. And now that's what I'm doing here. I'm kind of setting the needle in at a pretty steep angle so that it can sort of get into that. It's kind of the line is like a mini groove, but I want to establish more of a groove first before I really start cutting. And the tip here is going to be a little bit of a challenge usually, and then up here where the clay joined. So you kind of have to be particularly careful and patient because that's where it's the thickest. Make sure the camera can see that. I'm just going to run a little bit more. till I feel like there's a groove established. And like I said, right here is a little bit thick. I'll go over that a couple times. And once I have a groove established, now I'm going to hold the needle instead of just at a right angle to the side, I'm going to put it at an angle and still be careful. And then just make as many passes as necessary to cut all the way through. And sorry it seems so boring, but be careful at this point. I'm still holding the needle at an angle. And just take as many passes as necessary to go all the way through. You can feel it starting to go through. But, oh man. Michael, can you answer that and say ceramics? All right, and then I think I went all the way through. There it goes. And I don't think you can see from the camera, but it's cut at an angle. And then all these crumbs will need to be cleaned up. But of course the clay is sticky right now, but the point of that angle is so that if you just hold it like this, that angle in the clay will kind of hold it in place, and it kind of fits in place better. So I know a lot of people aren't paying attention right now. They're looking at their phones, like Andres over there. Who else? And they're just gonna cut the top, and it's just gonna be like that. And it works, but it just doesn't fit into place, and it's not following the instructions, so you'll be dinged for points there. Are there any questions about cutting the top? And then, of course, like I said, you need to clean off all these crumbs and just make it nice. Now that you've cut through, you can clean up the inside where that slip, where we just joined it. We need to clean off that extra slip. And just do your final touches from here. Any questions? All right, go ahead and stop the camera.